Thank you for being here. It is November 13th, 2025, a Thursday. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. I do want to point out that in this video, I want to track the next couple weeks of the end of hurricane season. And with that said, there's no named system out there now, and I'm not seeing a named system. A few rumors about that, especially across Jamaica, and some folks, a lot of folks still do not have power. So I appreciate you spreading the right information about that there is no named storm out in the Caribbean. And next week I'll be going throughout Jamaica best I can, getting to as many locations as I can. And I really cannot wait to see you, and thank you for all the comments. I'll be going through those throughout the day. I am watching this right through here, the heavy pockets of rain into the north. I want to show you Canada and the U.S. with more big fronts that will be sweeping by in this video. But this has been the concern. But again, not a named system here, but this is heavy rain. And I appreciate the comments out of Central America, what's been happening with some pockets of really heavy rain. And what's interesting with this is, and what I've been highlighting, we take Nicaragua, for example, along the coast especially, there's been some flooding. Other spots, not at all. I've been watching that in Honduras, parts of the Yucatan Peninsula, Mexico, Belize, and then Costa Rica and Panama. Still those heavy pockets of rain. Then we lift to the north. Here's that front that has cleared Bermuda, dipping all the way down toward the Bahamas, back through the Cayman Islands. Some of us, that Christmas breeze, if you will, that's brought some of the cooler air in some spots, especially through the Bahamas, in parts of Cuba, and of course the southern U.S. We have multiple systems, Atlantic region to Canada, and a big one working in British Columbia, and in particular the west coast of the United States. So I'll show you that as well in this video. Now, as we round out the hurricane season, the water temperatures, they're cooling as they do this time of year. Still warm enough for development, but we know this time of year, water temperatures just one piece of the puzzle. A big drop in those water temperatures, of course, closer to the coastline, watching the Gulf, still across the Caribbean, running at about 29 degrees Celsius, 84 degrees Fahrenheit. And kind of mixed over toward the Pacific side. But overall, water temperatures, at least in the Caribbean, still conducive for development. But we've had that drop. You see a lot of these blues in here, of course, with these fronts moving by. Look at Florida, huge drop in some of the coastal water temperatures because of that cold air that's been working in front after front. So really helps drop the temperatures this time of year. But although in the Caribbean the water temperatures are warm enough for development, there are no signs of development up above our heads. The atmosphere is pretty hostile. That's a good thing. So while I can't rule out a slight chance of some development here or there, mainly out in the open waters of the Atlantic, I'm just not seeing signs of that as we go over really the last couple of weeks of the hurricane season. Here's the behind the scenes look at the European model, trying to find development over the next 10 days. Right here, the chance of a tropical depression forming, and that is low. And what happens is, this is a computer model. It always picks up on some signs of development, say near Panama, but that's because we have the Panama low this time of year. There's usually rain around here, so the models just kind of see that. But there are no big signs of any named system trying to form, at least on the Atlantic Basin side, as we go forward over the next couple of weeks. You know I'm watching that, though, so I appreciate you getting the right information out. What I am watching, the really heavy pockets of rain. The front in here helping to enhance the rain, seeing some of the rain near the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, scattered areas of rain. For us in the Eastern Caribbean, Antigua, Barbuda, south through Trinidad and Tobago, not as much as far as the rain is concerned. But this in through here, watching out for the mudslide threat, the landslides, that is a potential. This here is Friday. Here's that front just lingering. So with that, it does help enhance some of the rain again back through Central America, and then spotty elsewhere. Let's get into the weekend now, and then we'll lift up to the north, showing some of the rain scattered about Puerto Rico, Jamaica, Haiti, across the Dominican Republic, Turks and Caicos, Cuba, eastern Cuba, better chance of getting some of the rain. And still through here, Colombia, Panama, some of the additional rain, spotty elsewhere. There's the tail end of a front sitting right through there. And then as we work our way into the eastern Pacific side, it does look like a buildup of rain, not necessarily development. I'll watch that on the eastern Pacific side, but Guatemala and El Salvador eventually a better chance of some rain as we work our way into the second half of the weekend. And I'll keep an eye on any signs of development on the eastern Pacific side. But these are those big totals. Southern end of the Yucatan Peninsula, closer to Belize. You see how some spots, not a lot at all, right? Not much at all, but a few pockets getting some heavier rain, over 100 millimeters of rain or over 4 inches of rain, parts of Belize, for example. And then we do that as we swing to the south Again, some spots totally dry in Nicaragua, closer to the coast, heavier rain. Here are those pockets of heavy rain, parts of Panama and Costa Rica, still some totals of 150 millimeters of rain or 6 inches of rain on top of what we've already had. Now, looking at the fronts to the north, and it's all tied together from Canada down through the Caribbean, watching the Atlantic region of Canada, Newfoundland, even back toward Nova Scotia today, that chance of rain, that front dipping down. But look at this system here, British Columbia south through California, watching a system moving in. There's a shot of colder air, still some lake effect snow, parts of the Great Lakes, but this just kind of gets stuck here. California in particular, trying to clip by northern Mexico, northwestern Mexico, but really California in particular, a high chance of flooding in through here, a lot of snow in the higher terrain. Atlantic region of Canada, again, just that spin that's sticking around, then taking you out through the weekend. This is Saturday. One system here, Ontario working back through Quebec and the Great Lakes, and there's the rain again. I mentioned how it kind of gets stuck, more so California, Nevada, not as much as you work your way into Mexico, but just kind of clipping by northwestern sections of Mexico. And then as we work our way into Sunday, another system kind of trying to pull through New England, through the Atlantic region of Canada, and then watching all of this higher terrain snow in a more of a potential flooding. I want to show you the rain totals in this sector in just a second. Now, as far as the seas go, with that front that did clear, it is choppy today, central and western Caribbean, and watching over toward the southern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, and the Atlantic passageways. Then as we work our way forward into tomorrow, into Saturday, Gulf and Caribbean, not too bad. But with these systems pressing off of the United States, we'll be watching the Atlantic waters. They'll build again, especially into Sunday. You see that there, back through the Carolinas and lifting up toward the north as those systems kind of pull offshore of Canada and the U.S. As far as rain goes, a lot of sunshine, a warming trend. Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Georgia. Beautiful weather back through the northern Bahamas, southern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, back through eastern Cuba, where that front is. That's where we have the chance of showers. Cayman Islands right on the edge of it, especially Grand Cayman, keeping an eye on some rain, but scattered areas of rain in Jamaica, watching that carefully. Haiti and the DR, kind of spotty areas of rain, just with that front that's lingering. Hit or miss Puerto Rico, U.S. British Virgin Islands, St. Martin, Anguilla, Ceiba Station, Montserrat. You see it's not a lot. Guadeloupe, this is passing variety in through here. Trinidad and Tobago, we may get a couple showers kind of passing by, over 10 millimeters of rain in some spots in the northeastern Venezuela, northern Guyana, northern Suriname, with that chance of rain. But this is what I covered earlier. Those heavier pockets, Merida and Campeche, not a whole lot, but a better chance. Cancun, Cozumel, closer to Belize, just these pockets of rain that could lead to that flooding, including parts of Colombia, northern and central sections of Colombia. But we get back toward Mexico City north, I mentioned through Texas, beautiful weather with some of the cool starts, but the warm days. But this and through here, look at these totals back through parts of California, just clipping by parts of Mexico. You get south of San Diego, right around San Diego, through LA, we're going to see some totals of 4 inches of rain, and the terrain here can't handle it. So with that flood potential, watching that carefully all the way from Southern California through Northern California, keeping an eye on the Pacific Northwest and British Columbia. And then with these systems around, you see these spins, Maritimes, really the whole Atlantic region of Canada will have several spots that get over 25 millimeters of rain or an inch of rain as we go forward over the next couple days, and some of those gusty winds. So Jamaica, we have about a 50 to even 60% chance of rain and storms. It's not all day, but monitoring that carefully, because like we've had the last 2 days, we had that in Montego Bay a couple nights ago, where we get these downpours around. So watching that, and then we swing back toward the Cayman Islands, kind of a difference between Brac over toward Grand Cayman. Grand Cayman, a better chance of getting some of that rain that's closer to Central America. Trinidad and Tobago, we have a 30% chance, and you see that the rain chance is low. Barbados, mainly dry over the next couple of days, mainly dry in St. Lucia. Can't rule out a stray chance of a shower. Rain chance is not zero, but just the rain chance not high. Grenada, about a 20% chance in the next couple of days. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, rain chance running at 20%. A 30% chance today of a passing shower in Martinique, and very isolated the next few days, next 3 days, as we work our way through Dominica, back through Guadeloupe, with that rain chance holding at 30%. 30% chance today, Antigua and Barbuda, a 20% chance for tomorrow. Same thing, St. Kitts and Nevis and Montserrat, passing shower possible. Anguilla and St. Bart's, rain chance today about 40%, and a 40% chance St. Martin, Save and Statia, passing showers scooting by. Puerto Rico, rain chance holding at 40% as we swing into the upcoming weekend, and about a 30 to 40% chance over the next couple of days of the U.S. and British Virgin Islands. We'll get back through the Bahamas, northern, central, dry, southern Bahamas, closer to the Turks and Caicos. That's where the rain chance is higher. 50% chance on the Turks and Caicos today, down to a 40% chance for tomorrow. Next couple of days across the Dominican Republic, rain chance at 40%. Next couple of days in Haiti, rain chance running at 30%. We swing back toward Belize. Again, it's those pockets of heavy rain. Where we're getting it, we're getting the flood potential. Others, not a whole lot. I'll be watching for your comments in Belize through the day. 30% chance today in Aruba, and about a 30% chance Curacao and Bonaire over the next 2 days. Northern Guyana, that's where that rain chance is higher. In northern Suriname, although we're going to be seeing it dropping off as we go through the end of the week. Cuba, again, East Cuba, that's where the rain chance is higher. Elsewhere, mainly dry. Costa Rica and Panama, watching those pockets of rain. Same thing in Nicaragua, really split. Some of us completely dry. Others dealing with some of the flooding. We do that as well as we work our way into Honduras. It just kind of depends on where some of that rain sets up. Guatemala and El Salvador through the weekend will monitor that rain chance that will be getting higher. Mexico City, though, we are on the dry side. In the Yucatan Peninsula, much of it looking good, but again, closer to Belize, that's where we have that rain and even flood threat around. Colombia, watching about a 50% chance of rain, 40% chance back through northern Venezuela, especially northeastern Venezuela. We get back through Bermuda. You see that rain chance kind of bopping around as these fronts clip by with that chance of some of the rain. So hurricane season does end at the end of the month. As of now, no signs of development. Watching everything, monitoring all signs of any development, just not seeing anything, which is kind of typical for this time of year. The concern right now, the heavy areas of rain and flooding, and those bigger systems sliding through parts of the U.S., Canada, that can also lead to flooding and some snow. And we see how far south some of those fronts get to see some of that cooler weather that will even clip by parts of the Caribbean. So thank you for being part of this weather community. Have a good day ahead.